Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. Georgia Beer Reviews back at you today with another one, and super psyched about this. This is a 2018 bottle. This is from Lamplighter Brewing Company, which was established back in 2014. They're out of Cambridge, Massachusetts. This is the Fallon's Field Barley Wine. 10.9% alcohol by volume. We got a few years on this, being that it's from 2018. I love barley wines, 10.9%. Getting up there with the ABV, so it should be fine. These types of beers typically age very well. There is a little bit of a description on the back of the bottle, which I will read, just so you guys have a little bit better understanding of what this beer is all about. It says, Fallon's Field is our 2018 vintage barley wine, brewed with English pale malts and aged for 6 months in first-use port barrels. Which it did not say that on the front of the label, so that's interesting. It is a barrel-aged product, but not any barrel. Port barrels. That's interesting. I do love port wine. I feel like that's going to impart a lot of complexity and flavor to this beer. It does say, full-bodied, decadent, and boozy, this complex beer acquired a multi-layered collection of sweet and savory flavors during its time spent in wood. Undertones of candied cherry and stone fruit support a sherry-forward nose, finishing smooth with lingering notes of sweet wine, hazelnut, and a touch of anise. Drink fresh or cellar. All right. I mean, it sounds amazing, but of course, it's all about what we experience here together as we drink this beer. And when I say we, I'm talking to you. Yes, all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land. Hopefully you can get this beer, or you've had this beer, and we can reminisce together. All right. Oh, wow, I'm already smelling that sweet aroma. It definitely has that port wine thing going on just based off of that quick sniff I took. So this one is pretty dark. I'd say like a rich caramel color. By the way, the bottle was $13, and this is a 750 ml bottle. Good looking appearance, typical for a barley wine. It is hazy. You can't really see through. You can see the light through it, but you can't really see through it. I can't see my hand from the other side because it's very hazy, but a lot of light coming through. So caramel color, the head died down, but it's a white, kind of a soapy head. So the aroma, yeah, it is slightly boozy. Definitely getting the port wine barrel. It has a sweet, almost wine-like aroma to it. There's some caramel toffee, like rich toffee, like Werther's Original type of thing going on the nose. A little bit of dark fruit as well, some fig in there. Smells like a damn fig Newton almost. Really quite nice with the aroma. The alcohol's not coming through, like it doesn't smell alcoholic, but it does have a boozy feel to it just from the port barrel aging. I'm getting some wood. I'm getting the wine notes, the sweet wine, port wine aroma. Dark fruit. There's a little bit of like a berry note in there as well, like a blackberry. It smells absolutely delightful. I love these beers, so I have very high hopes. I love barley wines. This one smells incredible. I didn't think it was barrel aged when I bought it because it just said, the front of the label, barley wine, 10.9. And then when I just read the back of the label, I found out that it's 6 months aged in port wine barrels, so my excitement level is up here. So anyway, it smells absolutely delightful, decadent. So without further ado, let's get into this brew. Cheers. Oh wow, the port wine barrel aging is definitely imparting a nice complexity to this. You get the caramel and the toffee notes, the dark fruit. But then you get that sweet, like wine feel to it, and the oak. The wood is really coming through with this. Oh, and there's still a little bit of bitterness on the back end to kind of round it out. A lot of times when you drink barley wines that have been aged for a few years, you lose the bitterness, mostly, especially after a few years like this. But this is, it definitely is coming through a little bit on the finish, like an earthy type hop note and bitterness. So you get the port wine notes for sure. It's not like bourbon barrel aged stuff that I've had where it's a distinct bourbon barrel. This, you can tell that it's barrel aged, but it has that sweet wine-like effect. So if you blindfolded me and said, this is barrel aged, and you gave me a multiple choice and you said, would you say that this is aged in some type of wine barrel, bourbon, or I don't know, some other spirit? I would tell you definitely wine because of the sweetness that's imparted in this beer. So dark fruit, the port wine barrel aging notes are coming through nicely. The body is really medium, like a nice prickly medium carbonation as well. The finish is dry and going down because of the high alcohol at 10.9%. It really kind of dries the palate out, which is really inviting because you want to go back in for another sip. This is obviously something that you want to sip on and that would, you drink over the course of an hour or two because it is such a big bottle, or share it with family, friends, whatever. But this is definitely something you want to sip and enjoy. It is slightly warming going down. You do know that it's a boozy or a higher alcohol beer, but it doesn't present as a super boozy beer. It is slightly boozy from the barrel aging and just the higher alcohol, but that's a welcome thing with this. It's not a bad boozy note that you get with some, I don't know, like high gravity malt liquors, for instance. This is very, very smooth, very easy drinking. A nice sipper with good carbonation for a 2018 bottle. It's really got some nice carbonation. The complexity with this, like I said, is really through the roof with the port wine notes that I'm getting in conjunction with that dark fruit and the oak that's coming through. So this to me is, it's up there. I think this is world class. It's right up there with the barley wine I had earlier. I'm going to call it a draw, though. I'm going to say 98 out of 100, which just falls into that world-class range for me. I think the aging has done wonders for this. There's still a little bit of hop presence and bitterness, which is rare for a bottle that's this old. The dark fruit notes, that caramel and toffee and the oak and the port wine sweet type note that's coming through is really, really enjoyable. So I would highly recommend this beer if you can still find it in your area. It is an older bottle. The store that I got it from had 5 or 6 on the shelf. Lamplighter is pretty popular around here. So if you live in Massachusetts, the New England area, you may be able to get your hands on one of these. If you can find a newer or an older bottling of this, I would also recommend it because it's probably very similar. But absolutely a wonderful, wonderful beer. 98 out of 100 for the Fallon's Field Barley Wine from Lamplighter Brewing Company out of Cambridge, Mass. That'll do for this beer review, guys. Buy it, try it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And we'll see you right here all on the next one. Until then, cheers, everybody.